If you had a chance to go back in time and change something, would you do it? I do not think that I would. I mean, didn't we learn our lesson in Back to the Future? Today is all about my 5-star book predictions. First up is Stephen King's 11/22/63. What happened on that date? JFK was assassinated. In this story, we follow Jake Epping, a school teacher who lives in Maine. He finds out one day that his friend has in his storeroom a secret portal to the year 1958. So they travel back in time and they're able to live in the time of Elvis Presley and sock hops. They have time to meet Lee Harvey Oswald, get to know him, and maybe even stop the assassination from happening. Will he do it? I have no idea. I think this is going to be a 5-star novel because anything with time travel in it and you have me hooked. I'm also very interested in historical events and the JFK assassination, so this one is right up my alley and I really feel like it's going to be 5 stars for me. Next on my list is The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. This takes place in 1934 during the Great Depression amidst the Dust Bowl. The crops are failing, obviously things are difficult because we're in the middle of the Depression, and we're following a person named Elsa Martinelli who has to decide whether she's going to fight for her land or to move west to California. So it's the story of the American dream, of hope and courage, and her sacrifice. Kristin Hannah is one of my favorite authors. She has a great ability to make me cry, and quite honestly, if there's one thing that I love in a book, it's the ability to make me cry and really make me feel something. I loved The Nightingale and I love The Great Alone. I've really loved most of her books that I have read. I've had a hold on this book in the library for quite a long time and I'm just waiting to get my hands on it. Next up, In the Garden of the Beast by Erik Larson. This one is a nonfiction narrative piece that takes place in 1933. William Dodd is one of America's first ambassadors to Germany. He brings his family along with him, and in the beginning, they're really taken in by the Third Reich and the opulence and the parties, and it's all just kind of wonderful. But then things start to happen and the Dodds begin to become a little bit suspicious of what is going on. They even let the Americans know back home in the State Department that things are getting a little bit weird. Jews start to get attacked, laws start to be enforced, and they begin to see the true side of Hitler. This story begins to tell you how it was that people were so enthralled with Hitler and didn't really understand what was happening until they were in the midst of it. I think that this is going to be really, really good. If you have read any of his pieces before, then you know what a wonderful storyteller he is. He takes real stories and he creates a nonfiction piece that feels more like a fiction piece. It feels like a story rather than facts that are just being put out there. Next is another time travel book. It is Kindred by Octavia Butler. In this, we follow Dana, who is an African-American woman who has just turned 26 years old in California in 1976. She wakes up one morning to find herself back in antebellum Maryland, and she saves a white boy from drowning. She turns around to find that she is staring right into the barrel of a gun. Somehow, in that moment, she is saved by being brought back to 1976. However, over time, she finds herself traveling back to antebellum Maryland again and again to see this same boy. What is the purpose of this? I have no idea, but you can bet that I'm going to find out. And finally, we have Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. This story follows 5 African-American women who are working for NASA. They are segregated from their white counterparts, and they are known as the human computers that are putting pencil to paper to figure out the calculations for the flight paths that will put man on the moon. It's a true story. It had never been told before this. It is during a time of the Cold War, the Civil Rights Movement, NASA's golden age. the space race and women's rights movement. It is going to be action-packed, and I can't believe that I haven't read this yet because it has literally been on my TBR for years and years. And it's time to get this one read. Have you read any of these books? Which ones? Let me know below, and if there's one that you have been dying to read, I'd love to hear that too. My name is Jillian. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time.